WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. New details tonight about how a man that led law enforcement on a chase through 3 counties was captured. 3 Lamar County, Alabama men held Jacob Kahn down until Lamar County, Alabama deputies arrived at a Prospect Road home. Our Jory Talley speaks with the trio and joins us live in the studio with more. Jory.
The 3 brothers say it all happened so fast. Monroe County Sheriff Cecil Cantrell says it all started when his deputies tried to stop Kahn at a Hamilton gas station yesterday morning. Even with 2 tires shot out by deputies, Kahn led law enforcement through Caledonia and into Lamar County. Investigators say he then ran into the woods, getting caught and arrested a few short hours later.
I got a phone call from a neighbor saying that they seen him on Prospect Road, and we come up here, and I called the deputies and stuff to come up here, and they went and started interviewing my aunt, which he was in her yard next. And then we come out here, and I was like, well, I'm going to start searching my property.
That's when Victor Bigham walked around the corner of the house and spotted Jacob Kahn.
He was coming out this window when we come around the side of the house. He'd had this window open and was halfway out of it.
It didn't take long for Bigham and his 2 brothers to take action.
Since my brother said, hey, stop, I took off running to the police to get help for my brother because, you know, they all said the rumor was he had a gun and he'd been shooting at cops. So I went and got the cops, and then the U.S. Marshals, and everybody came running up the hill, and they had him.
But before investigators finally had the man they had been searching for, the brothers say Kahn kept lying to them about everything from his name to why he was inside the home being renovated.
And he kept trying to say that this was his house, he just wanted to get warm. I said, man, this is my land. This is not yours.
He broke the door handle, he kicked the door in. You know, there's the footprints.
Kahn not only left behind these footprints, but also what appears to be food he made for lunch.
Pinto beans, a pineapple, some crackers.
The trio believes this is why Kahn was caught trying to escape out of this window.
He was in the bathroom in here. He changed all his wet clothes where he had his bedding. Stuff, he's going to take a little nap in here, I guess.
Although Lamar County investigators haven't officially charged Kahn, he could face burglary and theft of property charges.
The attorney for the family of a woman killed in a drive-by shooting says the city of Verona and its police chief need to be held accountable for the tragedy. 66-year-old Annie Walton was killed December 7th as she was sitting at a table in her home on County Road 45. 1 week later, 17-year-old Latavius Betts was arrested and charged with Walton's murder. Betts was the suspect in a murder last spring at a Verona car wash, but he was released from jail by Verona Police Chief J.B. Long. Betts was arrested in July for another shooting, but posted a $50,000 bond and was released. At the time, Justice Court Judge Sadie Holland was not informed that Betts was a suspect in the March murder. Now the family of Annie Walton has filed notice of claim against the city of Verona, which is required before suing a Mississippi government. Now, the family says that Annie Walton would still be alive if proper procedure had been followed with Betts.
I haven't heard from anyone connected with the city. You know, they should do the right thing and step up and try to resolve this and do right by these people, but that remains to be seen. What we can learn from this case is that the letter of the law should always be followed no matter what. Never take shortcuts, and no chief of police, sheriff, or anyone else has any authority to step into the role of a judge and arrange to release a suspect before they've appeared for an initial appearance.
Lott is asking for a jury trial in federal court. Chief Long says Betts was released from jail initially because witnesses did not identify him as the alleged gunman. However, the chief says witnesses later said Betts was in fact the shooter. The city has 90 days to respond to the family before a lawsuit is filed. Mississippi drivers will be putting a new license plate on their vehicles this year. The state seal, which has the phrase "In God We Trust" is on the design. It will replace the current car tags, which features the guitar blues legend B.B. King. Some critics say the design is unbalanced and the state seal is off-center. The standard Mississippi license plate is redesigned every few years, partially as a way of catching people who fail to pay the annual renewal fees. Drivers receive the new plate when their old one expires and they pay the fees. Time now to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. He joins us with a first look at our forecast. Keith?
Joy, not too bad of a day here as we started out the new year. A time lapse from Vernon, Alabama at Durham's Pharmacy. You can see the setting sun, some of those clouds coming on in, foreshadowing more rain. That is in the forecast starting tomorrow. The system's starting to develop down towards south right now. We're dry, basically dry all night long, but rain chances will be going up as we get into our day tomorrow. Currently in the 40s to low 50s across our region, and a lot of 40s for this evening. The temperature trend for the next 24 hours in the Columbus area, basically holding steady. 40s tonight, around 50 or the upper 40s tomorrow. Let's talk about where we are headed for tomorrow. On our Wednesday, again, 40s northwest, maybe some low 50s to the southeast, but rain is going to develop and it may add up over the next few days. More in just a few minutes.
A Republican lawmaker says economic issues, budget matters, education, and human trafficking are some of the topics legislators will likely tackle during the upcoming session in Jackson. WCBI's Allie Martin has more on the legislative preview from the GOP perspective.
For State Representative Randy Boyd, there are several issues he believes will be at the top of the agenda when lawmakers convene next week.
Education will be one of the major ones, as it always is, and the budget, and trying to get those things worked out. But we're going to deal with human trafficking. We're going to deal with the opioid crisis.
The Republican lawmaker has represented District 19 for 2 terms now and says human trafficking and the opioid epidemic are issues that impact everyone.
The way we address it is the way the rest of the nation's going about it, and trying to maybe step ahead of some of those things that we've seen in other states and make ours just a little bit better.
Boyd also believes legislators will look at ways to help people suffering with mental illnesses who end up on the wrong side of the law.
We started the drug court a few years back, and it's been very successful, and we're trying to look at some way we can have like a mental health court, something that will be along the same lines as the drug court, which helps people, not just locks them up and throws away the key.
On education, Representative Boyd says a teacher pay hike is on the table, along with funds for teachers to help them buy school supplies instead of using their own money. Also, the lawmaker from Manatee believes priority should be given to increasing vocational educational opportunities.
Students will be able to come out of high school with a certificate that would allow them to go to work in some of our factories around here. We've got to do things in Mississippi a little bit different in order to maintain a workforce for these companies that we've gotten come in here.
Boyd also believes lawmakers are likely to pass legislation allowing electric cooperatives to offer high-speed internet in rural areas. In Tupelo, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
The 2019 session begins January 8th. Alabama's governor sent a personal message to constituents via YouTube. IVEY focused on workforce investment from 2018 along with new developments for the coming year. IVEY highlighted expansion and new business for the state of Alabama, which she said meant money and jobs for the people who live there.
2018 was highlighted with much accomplishment. Through hard work and innovation, Alabama exceeded $8 billion in economic development investments, creating over 16,000 new jobs for our economy.
Governor IVEY finished her message by wishing Alabamians happiness and prosperity in the new year. OCH Regional Medical Center welcomes its first baby of 2019. Magnolia Holderness was born at 3:40 a.m. this morning. Originally due in late January, Magnolia is an early New Year's Day present for her parents. She is the first child of Trevor and Courtney Holderness. A new year, a new owner, and a new set of signs at Amory's only hospital. Today is the first day of ownership for North Mississippi Health Services. It purchased the former Gilmore Memorial Hospital. A bankruptcy court approved the $15 million sale back in November. NMHS was the only bidder on the Amory Hospital. Workers replaced the signage at the facility today and yesterday. Lunch and a game just ahead, New Year's Day in Starkville. You're watching WCBI News at 6.
You're watching WCBI's News at 6 with Joey Barnes.
Welcome back, everyone. There were plenty of Mississippi State fans in Tampa today, but not everyone could make the trip. So in Starkville, some businesses were busy with hungry Bulldog fans. Our Blair Schaefer was there and has more. She joins us live in the studio.
Joey, the Cake Box Eatery opened for a New Year's brunch this morning. They served all the New Year's eats like black-eyed peas and greens, and they even opened early because people were waiting outside. I spoke with owner Mark Taylor about how this brunch became an enjoyable event for his family.
It all started out with a question last year.
Well, I asked my wife if she was going to cook. She said, no, I'm not going to cook in the house. And I said, well, let's go to the eatery in the research park and we'll cook.
Taylor then had another suggestion.
And I said, so while we're there, why don't we just open and invite everybody to come have lunch with us? And we did, and it was very successful.
The Cake Box Eatery has since moved to a location closer to Mississippi State University on Russell Street. And with MSU football playing in the Outback Bowl around lunchtime, he thought opening his restaurant for local fans would be a good idea.
Well, that's one of the other reasons was the game was on, and it's a good way to watch the game, have people watch it around you and eat and have a good time. So that was the plan.
This plan brought in many Starkville residents who came for good food and camaraderie. And for Bulldog fans, they filled their bellies while supporting their home team.
I love being here on New Year's with this good food and all of our special traditional New Year's foods, especially watching the Bulldogs play and supporting them. It's just a great atmosphere to sit and eat and support the dogs.
Some customers also left feeling empowered and ready to take on the new year. But it wasn't the football game that fueled their fire. It was the food.
This is just fantastic. You can get all your New Year's eats in, the black-eyed peas, the greens, the pork. You can be covered for the year. It's like I'm wearing armor.
Taylor and his family love cooking for the locals, and through his food, he hopes to bring people luck, health, and money. Also coming up on WCBI Sports, we'll have more on the Outback Bowl from Courtney Robb.
A live look in downtown Louisville, Mississippi shows dry conditions, nothing really happening there as far as the weather is concerned, but more rain is on the way. It's going to build on in tomorrow, and over the next few days, we may see a few inches of rain around here. The full forecast is next.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
A neat time lapse from downtown Tupelo today shows the atmosphere in motion, the low levels moving from north to south, the upper levels from southwest to the northeast. Different layers move in different directions. And here's a cool little picture we got in here, Aberdeen this evening. Maybe, just maybe, something spliced on through that cloud like a jet or something like that to cause some disturbed air to split the clouds open, but we just can't tell from that. And this is a really neat photo. This is really appropriate for what's happening right now. This is our Alabama Rain Man from Grant over in Ethelsville, Alabama. A couple of puddles, some pine cones there. That's what we're going to have for the next couple of days. More of those will be popping on up because we do envision several more inches of rain possible in our region, maybe 1 to 3 inches or more over the next 3 days. Moisture continues to move on into the region, and it will do so over this frontal boundary that will stay down along the coast. So we don't envision any severe weather potential or anything like that because of that front down to our south. But the moisture will override the front, produce the clouds like it's doing right now, and eventually start to produce more rain. And we've been used to that. So let me show you that with Futurecast. The clouds already moving back in. We'll see rain become more likely as we go through time tomorrow. So you may wake up to a fairly dry start in a good chunk of the area, but by mid to late afternoon, more rain around here, especially into tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. And the rain will continue into our Thursday, maybe a little bit lower during the day Thursday, but Thursday night into our Friday morning, another little round of rain will move on through right there. And we could actually see a few showers get wrapped back around during the day Friday, but this dry slot could actually move on in and choke off a lot of the significant rain as we go through time on Friday. We'll see how it plays out. And then some brighter skies for this weekend, but there could be some lingering clouds and some fog early Saturday. Once we get rid of that, the weekend is actually looking pretty good. Now, on the back side of this, there's going to be an icing and a snowfall event back across Texas and Oklahoma, and that is where there are currently winter weather alerts just west of Dallas, but it does include Oklahoma City and Abilene. So if you're traveling that way, be advised. But around here, rain develops tomorrow. We start out in the mid-40s, back up to around 50 during the course of the day. Some of you will fall short of 50. Some of you will likely get into the low 50s. Here's your AccuWeather 7-day forecast, and there are those rain chances Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The rain goes away. Mostly sunny Saturday, 57. Mostly sunny Sunday and Monday, low 60s.
Mississippi State faces off against Iowa for the first time in history this afternoon. See the highlights from the Outback Bowl coming up next in sports.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Emotions throughout the Outback Bowl went as follows: excitement to anger to hope, and then confusion. Although Mississippi State started with the lead, the Bulldogs fell victim to just too many penalties and just too many mistakes. It was the first ever matchup between the Bulldogs and the Hawkeyes earlier today at the Outback Bowl. MSU's defense would be feasted on the Hawkeyes early. Nate Stanley gets swallowed up by Jeffrey Simmons and Chauncey Rivers for the sack. It'd be a field goal fest in the first quarter, and it'd be 6-3 Bulldogs in the second. Stanley on the play action here finds a wide open Nick Easley, and he's going to be off to the races. Takes it 75 yards for the touchdown. It'll be the first play longer than 50 yards that State has given up all season. Iowa goes into halftime leading 17-6. Different dogs out of the break. A Willie Gay interception, and then Kylan Hill punches one into the end zone. They wouldn't get the 2-point conversion. The Bulldogs trail by 5. On the ensuing kickoff, Amir Smith-Marset on the return gets leveled, fumbles, and right into the hands of Mark McLaurin. The Bulldogs would be back in business. And then on that very next play, Nick Fitzgerald going into beast mode. Breaks tackles, puts up his blockers, goes 33 yards for the touchdown run, and gives the Bulldogs back the lead that they so desperately wanted, leading 19-17. But Iowa resilient in this game. They would hit right on back. Fitzgerald's pass here, it's going to get tipped at the line of scrimmage and picked off by Chauncey Golston. And the Hawkeyes would capitalize on another turnover. Stanley to Easley again from 8 yards out. Iowa retakes the lead 24-19. Bulldogs, though, they'd be on the comeback trail. Fitzgerald finding a wide open Stephen Guidry, but gets tripped up, and then is down at the 1. The Bulldogs would have to settle for a field goal. And the Bulldogs, they just wouldn't be able to fight their way back. A tough loss to end the season. Iowa gets the win 27-22. Our sports director, Tom Ebel, witnessed the tough loss with his own eyes, and now we go live to him in Tampa for more on where the Bulldogs went wrong. Tom?
Courtney, Iowa wins by 5, but explain this. The Hawkeyes rushed for negative 15 yards on 20 carries, putting up only 199 yards of total offense. The killer for the Bulldogs, penalties and turnovers. Iowa scoring 17 points off 3 Mississippi State turnovers, and Mississippi State losing the penalty margin 8-0. The Bulldogs talked after the game about the disappointment of feeling like they left way too many plays on the field.
It just seemed like anytime that we were moving the ball, we hurt ourselves. Anytime we're on defense and we get a stop, hurt ourselves with a penalty. So it's just something that it's unacceptable on our part, and I guess congratulations to them for being a team with absolute 0 penalties in a football game. So good job.
To be honest, we beat ourselves at the beginning, and at the end they made plays also, but they took advantage of the opportunities and that we gave them, and like penalties, targeting call. I don't think it was targeting, but we gave them some plays also.
At the same time, it's accountability. Everybody has to be accountable. And it's discipline. You got to have a lot of discipline. Playing the game of football. And Iowa one of them teams. You can't have crazy penalties. You can't have stupid penalties. And that was kind of killed us. Like twice. We could have got off the field 3rd and 4th down.
I'd feel a lot better if it was 9-4 after today. But you look at the games. We lost. They're all the quality opponents. We had opportunities in all of them, and didn't come out on top for different reasons. But ultimately, won't be satisfied until you're 14-0, and we finished regular season 8-4, won the Egg Bowl. Had an opportunity to win our 9th game in the bowl game, and weren't able to finish it off.
The Bulldogs finishing 8-5 in year 1 under head coach Joe Moorhead, but this year has the feeling of what could have been, as a roster full of NFL talent either graduates or moves on to the pros come April. We'll see what happens come 2019. Reporting here in Raymond James Stadium, Tom Ebel for WCBI Sports. Courtney will send it back to you in Columbus.
Thank you, Tom. That's going to be it for sports. Your last look is coming up next.
WCBI Sports exclusive coverage of the Outback Bowl live from Tampa is brought to you by OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, Bank First, a better way to bank, member FDIC, and visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
Easy forecast, more rain, right?
More rain, there you go.
There you go. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.